Virtual boxing coach here, and today we're going to teach you how to fight an inside fighter. Usually they're going to be slightly shorter than you with shorter range, and their job is to get on the inside and do some damage. Most likely you're going to be the taller opponent with more reach, and here are some tips to utilize your range to be able to catch them off, get some good angles so you can keep them out of range, and use some combinations and get flashy with it too, especially using your jabs, your linear punches, really fancy footwork, staying on the outside and keeping your opponent at range. Tip number one, the jab. One fighter that you could look at right off of the bat is Muhammad Ali. Phenomenal range fighter. Used a lot of footwork, but especially a machine gun-like jab. He just kept it out there and kept the opponent guessing which direction he's going to move into, and kept that jab in their face. So when Joe Frazier tried to get on the inside, he'd usually be having a jab and disrupting that momentum. So one way you can utilize this would be doubling up, tripling up on the jab, fakes, make them feint to one direction, jab to the body, jab to the head. Be a bit more sparse on jabbing to the body, especially as a taller fighter, because you're opening up a pretty big target for yourself. You want to make sure that you stay out of range, keeping their head moving, keeping them guessing where you're going to go next. But that's one way that you could utilize the jab. You're going to be tripling up, doubling up on it, making sure you keep it on their face, keeping that pressure on them, disrupting their momentum, or using a feint and making them go deep, like do a defensive move. Say for example, making them parry the jab and then hook it instead and get out of range. So you can see that I'm trying to utilize that jab just to make it so that I can control the range of the fight. It's one way you could utilize it. That's tip number one. Tip number two, if it wasn't obvious, it's gonna be your footwork. You wanna make sure that your opponent doesn't get on the inside and do damage on you. You wanna keep the fight in the middle of the ring for as long as you can, so you can utilize your linear punches like your jabs and your crosses to maximum effect. For you, since you're a lankier fighter, your linear punches are gonna be able to damage them while they can't even reach you yet. So you want to make sure that you, for the lack of a better word, spam those as often as you can. Double jabs to a cross, a lead cross in there, then dip out of angle, but footwork is going to be so crucial to this. You want to make your opponent keep turning and chasing you. So for example, see, I'm going to do an L step, for example. I'm going to circle to my left, L step to my right, double jab out, then back to my right side, and my left side again. I'm going to keep darting left, right. I'm going to sometimes go in the inside just to throw them off. Pop to the outside, angle out, double jab again. You want to make sure you keep it in the middle of the ring. You don't want them to be able to set their feet down and do some damage on you. You want to keep them on their toes and keep them out of range so you can do your damage and not get hit. So remember, try to utilize your footwork to make your opponents turn, fake out to one side, deke out to one side, utilize your L steps, dart in for a moment, dart out, keep them out at range with that jab. Use your linear punches, but footwork is key by making sure you keep your opponent off balance. Go left, go right, go front, go back. This is now part of a tool that you can get out of angle to keep you safe. Tip number three, on account of your offense this time, you want to utilize a lot of counterattacking. Now, they're going to be reaching towards you since they're the shorter fighter. They're going to keep trying to go on the inside with some head movement. Their footwork is going to be to cut you off. You want to make sure you stagger this by making sure you counterattack as often as you can. If they throw a sloppy jab in there, make them pay for it, throw a cross. If they try to reach forward too much, go in there with an uppercut. You can just fade back, throw an uppercut, and then deke out, get a different angle. Throw a jab, feint the jab, make them commit to another offensive attack, and then pop them with a counterattack. You always want to make sure that you counter as often as you can. This is going to stabilize the amount of aggression that they have and give you a lot more control. For example, if they're now you see them trying to go for that overhand, you want to make sure you roll it, throw an uppercut, get out. If they're throwing sloppy jabs, parry, throw a jab cross, get out. If it's a lead cross, for example, they're throwing, you're going to parry that, a nice 1-2 right down the middle, and then dart out. Now, you also want to make sure you switch this around. You don't want to keep using the same offensive moves via the counterattack. Sometimes you got to lead it too. So jab, make them do a slip, 1-2, mix it up. But the key point here is to utilize a lot of counterattacks to stabilize their aggression. They're always going to constantly try to get on the inside. Now, if you think about it, if they're now very weary of throwing attacks at you because you're constantly counterattacking it. They're gonna be unsure where to go. They're gonna be unsure if they need to cut you off because they don't know if whatever they're doing is gonna be effective. So those three things I want you to keep in mind. Use your footwork, use your jab, and counterattack often. Keep the opponent away from you and keep the fight in the middle of the ring as much as possible. That way you can hit them, but they can't hit you back. Hope these help. Try these out as a taller fighter. I'll see you guys in the next one.